I think back on it now and it scares me the way we thought about it. It's not normal. A lot of memories there, not good ones. We're just in Steinbach, Manitoba area. It's a pretty heavy farming community. When you don't have a high school education, farming is really the only thing you can get into. You end up in these factory farms where the conditions are oftentimes horrific and not talked about. I was 16 and a half, 17 when I got into the industry. I didn't know my dad, and my mom moved to the States when I was younger. So I was kind of on my own, and my aunt got me a job in the hog farming industry, just washing barns to start. Not too much interaction with the animals. That kind of happens slowly as you get more experience in the barn. Later on in the farrowing department, the birthing areas, that was probably the first area of the barn where I encountered thumping and smashing the pigs on the ground that were deemed not going to make it. Younger pigs are so curious and happy, and you get to build a trust with them before they're used for breeding and these different things. And then when it comes time to the breeding or the rape of the animal, you kind of think about it as it happens, because you build that trust and then you just take it away. Within the first 2 days, the piglets are taken into a crate and we clip their teeth with electrical cutters, clip their tails with garden shears that were on a hot torch. And then if it was a boy, we would grab it by the back legs, and with no training from any veterinary or anything, just told to take a scalpel and make 2 incisions. And you grab it with your 2 fingers and you just give it 2 tugs. And all of this is done with no pain medicines of any kind. The pig's screaming the whole time, basically in pain and scared. In all the different facilities I had been in, it was standard practice right across the board for people to be doing all these tasks.
I really honestly didn't understand what it entailed until we started dating for a longer period of time. Lots of people, they describe a farmer as a happy farmer and that they take care of the animals, not all the details that Justin has gone into. He didn't like castrating the pigs. I remember he'd come home pretty sad from that. But it got to a point where he would explain what he'd do, or something bad would happen where he'd have to kill a pig, and I wouldn't be able to listen to it.
Some days it was just what am I doing here? But you didn't have an option to get out, so you're kind of stuck. 17 in my eyes now is a little bit too young to be doing a job where you're taking the advantage of an animal and don't really understand what you're doing, and you kind of think it's funny what you're doing, and you don't really put one and one together. These boars will be in that facility until the day they die, because they're just money machines to the hog industry. When they reached their time and it was time to kill them, I thought the way they did it was very not right, inhumane. It was with 220 volt electrical cables that were hooked up to a car. So they plugged it into the wall, into the tail, into the ear, and for 5 minutes. And the animal just stood there and stared at us and drooled. It's almost asking me, why are you doing this to me? It's probably the first time I really thought about what was happening and is this okay? I feel desensitized to violence in general. If you're violent with animals, you'll be violent in your everyday life.
When we were younger, he had a lot of issues with fighting and drug abuse, probably to try to get rid of, the thoughts of what was going on. It has impacted him, definitely, and I feel it's impacted everybody else that's stuck in the industry.
I feel like other workers in the industry aren't speaking up because of social pressures of family and friends, and I think when I speak up, it helps make it easier for them to share their stories.
People don't understand that they're paying for this. They don't understand what is going on with these animals. If you see something, you need to tell somebody. If you feel like it's wrong, and we need it to stop.
It was posted on a group on Facebook that we have a mini pig and he needs a good home, and we just felt like we'd be able to give him a good home, to see him in a happy place and to see if it would work. We have a pretty big yard fenced in. He's able to roam around and dig around in the dirt and do all his natural things, and then, still curl up in a nice, comfortable, warm bed. He's curious about everything, and I think that's one of the coolest things, to see the personality that they have. You never got to see a personality in a barn, right? They were stir crazy, they were unhappy, and to see him oinking and all his different sounds and all the noises he makes, it's just amazing to see. He's a very happy little guy. And he loves belly rubs and rubs on the shoulders. It's amazing how much they love it. They'll flop over for you in a second as soon as you start rubbing their belly. Never getting to see a pig with a tail. It's really fun to see how happy he is all the time, because he's always wagging his tail just like a dog. You get some fruit or any special treats, it's just awesome. It's fun to see them in a happy environment after seeing them in such a sad environment. By explaining to the public what I went through, it can really help people open their eyes up to some of the cruelties that are happening. And I know just in our street outreach, when I speak about my experiences, all of a sudden the public will realize that, yeah, I actually was a part of that too. I was an electrician and I didn't like the experiences that were in that barn, or I actually hauled livestock once. I didn't like it and I don't think I'll ever do it again. I think by explaining my story, it helps them validate their story.